Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August 20th, 2024 regular council meeting for the town of Rocky Mountain House. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. Adoption of the agenda. Do we have any changes to the agenda this morning? If not, I'm looking for a motion to adopt.
I will
Councillor
make a
Phillips?
motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. No delegations today. Adoption of the previous minutes. Did the minutes look okay to everybody from last time? Okay. Looking for a motion. Councillor Alt.
I'll make a motion to adopt the regular council meeting minutes of August 6, 2024.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that's carried. So no delegation business today. Moving on to old business. 6.1 non-residential tax incentive bylaw. Mr. Krause.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So as Council's aware, Council's given first and second reading to this tax incentive bylaw. So it's just coming back for Council for third reading.
Thank you. Do we have any more discussion or anything on it? Otherwise, looking for a motion for third reading. Councillor Phillips?
Yeah, if there's no discussion, I'll make a motion that council give third and final reading to the non-residential land development tax incentive bylaw 2024/11.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Councillor Alt, your light is on. Thank you. Okay, seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Okay, 6.2, we have rates and fees amending bylaw. Mr. Krause?
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So as Council's aware, the swim club did a delegation to Council regarding swim fees for the swim club, which also affect the canoe club or kayak club. Council's instructed administration to bring back a amending bylaw to the fees and rates bylaw to reflect the fee that Council has decided upon. So it is in front of Council today for consideration of amending bylaw.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any discussion on this item? If not, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Has there been any feedback from the swim club on this as it sits yet?
So Deputy Mayor to Councillor Hutchinson, so Mr. Arments did advise the swim club of the changes that Council has asked for, and they simply responded, thank you very much. So
Thank you. Councillor Hutchinson.
I guess if there's no other questions, I would make the motion, be it resolved that council give first reading to amending bylaw 2024/10 fees, rates, and charges bylaw Schedule G with the following amendments. Club hourly rate $89 for 5 lanes and club lane rental rate of $17.80 per hour. Both rates will include the provision of a lifeguard.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Councillor Alt?
I'll make a motion that be it resolved, council give second reading to the amending bylaw 2024/10.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Councillor Phillips?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that council give unanimous consent to proceed to third reading of bylaw 2024/10.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And that is carried. And then finally, I can go ahead and make the last motion. Be it resolved that council give third and final reading to bylaw 2024/10. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? None opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. So moving down, we are at new business, 7.1, policy for legal representation and indemnification of members of council, chief administrative officer, and town employees. Mr. Krause?
thank you, Acting Mayor. So to introduce this policy, so if Council recalls, Councillor Shipple to the administrative inquiry back in January, actually asking what is the procedure for legal representation for both council and town employees. So since then, we've been working with legal counsel to draft a policy that would put that procedure in a formal type of format, like as an actual policy. So I'll just run through the policy for council if council wishes. So I guess the first and foremost in this policy is that council's got to be aware. So if a legal action is brought against the town, the first action is to send it to our insurance company. If our insurance company takes that on, then that's just the way it goes. So this policy would only come into effect if for some reason the insurance company says, no, this isn't within your coverage, so it's up to council to consider. So going through the policy, just so section 3 just provides the definitions and the actions that may be covered, which include civil, criminal, quasi-criminal, complaint, or inquiry. So it covers all the spectrum of any type of action. So in section 4, it assigns who is responsible under the policy for different aspects of it. So obviously for council, it's approving the policy and any future amendments that may be needed. Decide on the indemnification or representation of council members themselves. Decide on indemnification or legal representation of the CAO, and identify the source and budget funds if it gets to that point. And then for the CAO, it's obviously to stay on top of the policy, make any recommendations to council for any future amendments, decide on the indemnification and representation of any town employee if it ever gets to that, and then identify the source of funds and bring it back to council if funds are needed. So in section 5, it addresses civil actions. So the main points within the policy, and this is a running stream throughout the whole policy. It has to be determined either by council, if it is a council member or myself, or by myself, did the council member or employee act in good faith? So that's the question for this policy to kick into place for the town to provide indemnification or representation. And the term in good faith is right out of the Municipal Government Act. So that's the test on liability, is acting in good faith. So then section 5 is civil actions, and basically each section pretty much says the same thing, it's just a different type of action. Section 6 is criminal or quasi-criminal prosecution. Just for clarification, quasi-criminal would be something like under the Environmental Protection Act or something like that, so not under the Criminal Code of Canada. Section 7 is basically is for complaints or inquiries. So just where that would fall under like a complaint to the Human Rights Commission would be an example of a complaint, or the FOIA Commissioner or something like that. So section 8 now provides clarity that if it is deemed the person did act beyond their scope of duties and not in good faith, the town has the right to take its own measures against that individual. Section 9 is pretty much the procedure that we go through if an action comes against. It's advising town council, or advising the CAO, or the CAO advising town council, and the procedure that goes through it. And that basically summarizes the policy. It's a pretty in-depth policy and goes through quite a bit, but if council has any questions, be happy to answer.
Thank you. Councillor Auld.
I do have a question regarding time frame. So I didn't see it in here, but if, as in our term, if something has come up and our term is over, but we were still acting as council when the complaint comes through. How does that fall into here, or does it at all after, if something is brought to us, against us a year from now? Or 14 months, I guess.
I believe that is in here.
I didn't see it.
In the definitions, at the time of conduct, they were a member of council or a town employee.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that would still come back to the council of the day
To determine if it was in good faith. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this? Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I like the idea of this, that it gives us, you know, the guidelines and structured so that it's understandable for everybody and covers both council and staff as well. So, yeah, just my comment, I think is a good policy.
Thank you. Nothing, if there's nothing further than looking for a motion. Councillor Musker?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. Be it resolved, the council approve legal representation and indemnification of members of council, chief administrative officer, and town employees policy 006/2024 as presented.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. 7.2, so counselor absence. So this is in reference to Counselor Shippold being away. Mr. Kraus?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, as per the town council's policy on absence of council members and plus the Municipal Government Act, so a resolution is required to extend the leave for Councillor Shippold. And then plus also just put alternatives onto his committees. Administration did put in here the date of October 31st, and that was just administration itself. It's in no set date for Councillor Shippold to return. We picked that date simply because that's when the deputy mayor position rotates out, so we just kept dates the same. But if Councillor Shippold comes back before, then that he just comes back. And so, and then actually October 31st is also the time where we need another resolution because it would be beyond the 60 days of council's policy.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any discussion on this? Counselor Phillips?
If there's no discussion, you know, Councillor Shippold has a very valid personal reason for this leave of absence, so I would like to make a motion that council approve the leave of absence for Councillor Shippold from August 20th to October 31st, 2024 with pay.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. And then we're looking now to fill the alternates for his committees. Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I think for the Campus Alberta Central Post-Secondary Committee, I'm on the Rocky Learning Council, which is, I'm on there as part of that, but I think that could just be covered, not necessarily to be filled. It could be covered through my normal attendance of those meetings anyways, if that's sufficient for council.
Councillor Phillips?
Yeah, I'm completely, totally fine with that. I could take the healthcare professionals engagement team portion now until Councillor Shippold comes back, if council's okay with that.
Sure. Councillor Alt?
And I've been on the MPC in the past, so I have no problem taking taking that role till he comes back.
Okay, thank you. And then I'm already alternate for the Rocky Museum Operations Board, so I think we've got all of that. So now just looking for resolutions, Councillor Hutchinson?
Actually, if I can back up.
Sure.
I'm just thinking maybe if Councillor Musker would want to as well go on that Campus Alberta Central, just so that he could be familiar in case, once the organizational meeting comes, he wants to branch out to another, either Rocky Learning Council or another meeting of sort.
Sounds good, thank you. Okay, so I think we can go ahead. Councillor Alt?
I'll just make a motion, be it resolved that council assign Councillor Musker to the Campus Alberta Central Post-Secondary Committee until such time Councillor Chapel's leave is concluded.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Councillor Phillips?
I'll make a motion that council assign Councillor Ald to the Municipal Planning Commission until such time Councillor Shippel's leave is concluded.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, that's carried. I can make a motion, be it resolved that council assign Councillor Phillips to the RMH/CC Health Professionals Engagement Team until such time Councillor Shippel's leave is concluded. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. And just looking for one more. Councillor Hutchinson?
Thank you. Be it resolved that council instruct administration to advise the alternate member of any committee meetings and confirm attendance. If the alternate member cannot attend, administration will contact all other members to arrange representation at the meetings.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. So moving on to 7.3, by-election. Mr. Kraus?
Can we go back to
Oh.
appointing for Rocky Museum Operation Board?
Oh, did we? Yes. I'm the alternate for that.
And that's what we're gonna do.
Yes, I can still be alternate for that. Councillor Musker?
I'm happy to take that spot. I'm already on the museum. If
Do we need an alternate for that one?
Possibly, yes.
And you're on
I
the
think you're gonna
PPR,
have
right?
a lot already, so why don't I just take that one?
Okay.
Well, there's two members on the museum board, two council members.
On the operations board?
On our organizational chart, we have two council members on the museum, so I
Who's the other
believe, I
one?
believe.
Do we know?
Do we know?
You?
I'm just going off
It's really
memory.
up to you, Marley. I mean,
Oh, no, that's
acting
okay.
mayor.
I'm fine with leaving it as is. Likely, I don't know if I'll have another meeting before the end of October or not, but if that's okay with everyone, I have no issues. Okay. So are we okay? Do we need to make another motion for that, or we're okay because I'm already in place as alternate for that? Okay, thank you. Okay, so moving along to 7.3, the by-election. Mr. Kraus?
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So as council's aware, Mayor Bache has resigned, so that's my formal notification to council under the MGA, where I'm required to notify council, but council's all aware, I'm sure. So with that, under the MGA, if the mayor resigns and there's still 18 months left in the term, then a by-election is required, or 12 months, sorry, 12 months, a by-election is required. So council has two options here. They can either follow the MGA and have a by-election, which I believe November 25th would be the date that we had built to conduct that by-election. Council also has another option of asking municipal affairs for an exemption to hold a by-election, which is not uncommon. Town of Vermilion did it for the mayor in April or May, and it was granted for an exemption. So that's the two options for council, either to set the by-election date or to request an exemption from municipal affairs to hold a by-election.
Okay, Thank you. Do we have any discussion on this? Counselor Alt?
Me personally, I feel that we should send a letter to Mr. Minister McIver for an extension. If we have a by-election in November, that position is going to miss the service level, going to miss the budget. I think they're going to be a duck out of water coming into it for 12 months at that, or 11 months at that time. So I would like to make a motion that be it resolved that council instruct administration to draft a letter to Municipal Affairs Minister McIver requesting to extend the time for filling the council vacancy to the next general election.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on the motion? Counselor Hutchinson?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that, just because, like Councillor All said, by the time a new elected official would be put into place, it's less than the 12 months that normally they would automatically grant or give the extension. So I would support this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to 7.4, we have the deputy mayor appointment. Mr. Kraus, if you want to touch on that?
Yeah, so, thank you, Acting Mayor. So under the MGA, if the mayor's position is vacant, the deputy mayor automatically moves up into the acting mayor position. Under the MGA, we're also required to have a deputy mayor in that position also. So with Acting Mayor Comprero now in that position, under the MGA, council is required to appoint acting deputy mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Phillips?
Thank you. I mean, obviously, we have to have a deputy mayor until we sort out what's going on with either getting an exemption or having to hold an election. I would throw my name in the hat for that temporarily until we decide what's going on, if council's okay.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I thought at our last meeting, when we were discussing that I just moved, the rotation moved up, and I was deputy mayor until October. Sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah, so I guess it's a little complicated with Councillor Shippold off, because he's actually the deputy mayor at this time. So we drafted this resolution to appoint a deputy mayor until October 31st, just following the time frame for Councillor Shippold's leave, and that's the same time that he would actually become the deputy mayor, and then hence the acting mayor. So that's just the way we're doing it. So to try to keep it a little simple is just to appoint the deputy mayor, because then after Councillor Shippold is done being acting mayor, then actually Councillor Hutchinson would become the acting mayor. That we would still have to appoint a deputy mayor at that time.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My thoughts kind of go to, I appreciate you putting your name forward, Councillor Phillips, but Councillor Musker he's not even on the roster for deputy mayor, and wondering if he has an appetite to throw his name in there for the next couple months and see where that goes.
Sure, I'd be happy to do that.
I would be totally fine with that.
Okay. Councillor Alt?
So just trying to clarify this among ourselves is a little bit complicated. What is the process? Are we able to have somebody as acting mayor for the rest of the term and then just keep the deputy mayor schedule as it is?
That's another alternative for council, yeah. I mean, I think when we drafted this report, we were drafting it in the sense that if council chooses to do that way, it'd be best to have Councillor Shippold back at the table, so all of council is here to make that decision. But, I mean, that's entirely up to council. Council can appoint that today if they so wish.
But we could have this discussion again when Councillor Shippold comes back after
Yes, council will have this discussion again for sure, because the appointments are all set for October 31st.
Counselor Musker?
Yeah, and just a comment, I think this all hinges on whether or not we get the exemption, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Counselor Hutchinson?
Thank you. So having said that, I'd put the motion forward, be it resolved that council appoint Councillor Musker as deputy mayor from October 20th, 24 until October 31st, 2024.
Just clarification, August 20th until October 31st. Sorry, you said October to October.
Oh,
in your
okay.
motion. Sorry, I just wanna.
I thought I said August, but absolutely, August 20th, 2024 until October 31st,
Thank you.
2024.
Kate, do we have any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So moving on to 7.5, we have acting mayor remuneration, so I am going to go ahead and step out for this and recuse myself. So Councillor Musker, you're up.
Sink or swim? Mr. Kraus, would you like to address this, please?
Thank you, Acting Deputy Mayor. So as council is aware, the position of mayor involves quite a bit more work than a councillor, and in being the official spokesperson, signing checks, and agenda review meetings and so forth. So under the town's remuneration policy, that's recognized, and the mayor receives a higher honorarium than a council member. So it's just for council's consideration, while one of the councillors is in the acting mayor position, that they receive the same honorarium that a mayor would.
Councillor Phillips?
Yes, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I believe this is prudent. I mean, it's something that happened. Now, Acting Mayor Caprero is in that position, and I do believe that she should be remunerated as the mayor would in the normal course of action.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor Auld?
Just a comment, thanks, Deputy Mayor. We did go through this the last leave of absence, where the deputy mayor stepped up for a couple of months doing the job of mayor and was not compensated. So I believe it is fair that if they're doing the job, they should have the proper remuneration. So I would be in favor of it.
Thank you. Councillor Hutchinson?
Thank you. Was that a motion, or you just a comment?
That was just a
Okay,
comment.
I'll make the motion then. Be it resolved that council approve that the acting mayor will be provided the honorarium of the mayor in accordance to the council remuneration policy.
Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried.
I should put my microphone on. Just looking to fill the former mayor's committees.
Yes, and so with the absence of the mayor, so those committees need to be filled. So there's a chart in council's package that are highlighted in yellow that requires to be filled.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
And then I don't know, we've probably go through one and a resolution for each one to appoint.
It's
so,
probably easier to do them
yeah.
one at a time. Okay, thank you, Counselor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Not pertaining directly to that, but can we, is our organizational meeting is planned for October 15th, but Councillor Chappelle isn't right now scheduled until the 31st. Is that going to cause us to go through our organizational meeting and then in 2 weeks after that, when Councillor Chappelle's back, to have to redo? Or is there a way of shifting our org meeting? You know where I'm going there.
Yeah, so I guess a couple comments. So we're mandated by the MGA to have that organizational meeting by the end of October. So we don't have a choice there. In my discussions with Councillor Shippold, even though administration picked the date of October 31st, my understanding with Councillor Shippold, he expects to return prior to that. So,
Thank you.
So, it's looking like we are starting with the Alberta Japan Twin Municipalities Association. So the current alternate member is Councillor Chappelle, councillor appointed. So does anybody want to put their name in for that one? Councillor Hutchinson?
I don't think that there's really anything to be done in the next little while, but seeing how I was on that planning committee, yeah, I could put my name forward for that one.
Thank you. So looking for a motion to appoint. Go ahead, Councillor Alt.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, Acting Mayor, it's so confusing. I'll make the motion that Councillor Hutchinson is appointed to the Alberta Japan Twin Municipalities Association.
Thank you for that motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, that is carried. So the next one is the Central Alberta, Economic Partnership, so CAPE. Councillor Phillips.
So I am the current alternate for that position, so I would happily move into the appointed position for now.
Okay. So do we need to also then now come
Yeah.
up with an alternate? Okay. Would anybody like to join that as the alternate? Go ahead, Councillor Hutchinson.
I can put my name forward for the alternate on that one.
Okay, thank you. So I can make a motion that we appoint Councillor Phillips to the Central Alberta Economic Partnership Committee, with Councillor Hutchinson being the alternate. Do we have any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, we'll call that to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, that's carried. Next one looks like the IDP. So we have Councillor Phillips currently as the alternate.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I can move into the role of that if needed.
Okay. Would someone like to move into the alternate position on that?
Yeah. I'd be happy to move into the alternate position.
Okay, thank you for that. So just looking for a motion for that. Councillor Alt.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll make the motion that we place Councillor Phillips in the councillor appointed position and Councillor Moosker into the alternate for the intermunicipal development plan.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. Moving down to the policing committee. So Councillor Chappelle is currently the alternate. So just looking to see if, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering if Councillor Moosker would want to take that position. You had taken or thought about it at one time, and I know you've attended a few of their meetings, and if that would be something that you would like to step up and do.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it says that there's a current alternate member, which is Councillor Shipple, but there's another alternate that is highlighted. Oh, Ms. Breeze.
Sorry, Acting Mayor, that's actually a mistake, because Councillor Phillips is on that as well, so.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So just
Sorry.
looking.
So I believe we need an alternate now as well for that committee, correct? Because this is appointing former Mayor Bache's position So we'd still need an alternate.
Oh, okay. I can put my name in for alternate for that.
I'll make a motion to assign Counselor Musker as the appointed person for the policing committee and acting Mayor Caprero as the alternate.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that's carried. Moving down, so we have the Rocky Museum Operations Board. I am on there as alternate already. If somebody wants to move into, Councillor Musker.
I'll take that spot.
Okay, thank you for that. So looking for a motion. Councillor Hutchinson?
Sorry, I'm confused. When we went through Counselor Chappelle's position for the museum, what did we do? Sorry.
Is there two normally for the Rocky Museum?
I believe something's going off memory, but I believe that we have 2 counselors on that.
And we did a motion to fill
One
you.
alternate for both councillors? If we have 2 councillors on a board?
I think so.
I'm sorry, if there's 2 councillors on a board, do we only need 1 alternate?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm already the alternate on there. So Councillor Schippel, who did we say was gonna take? Miss Breeze, thank you.
So, acting mayor, you are automatically put in that spot as the
Oh,
member.
okay.
So now we need to shuffle over, and you are not the current alternate member according to this chart now.
Oh, okay. Councillor Hutchinson.
Still confused.
So-
What are we looking for? Just one position for counselor appointed position for the museum board. Is that correct?
Correct.
And Counselor Musker has put his name forward, correct?
I have, but also acting Mayor Caprero has moved from alternate into the councillor role, which means we need an alternate.
Yes. So we're just looking for an alternate for the
Right.
museum board. Correct.
Potentially. We actually have a meeting between now and the organizational meeting, yes.
I could put my name forward for alternate. Or whatever needs to be put in place.
Thank you, Councillor Hutchinson.
I will make a motion to appoint Counselor Musker and Counselor Caprero, or acting Mayor Caprero as the appointees for the museum board with Counselor Hutchinson as the alternate.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. We have the West Central stakeholders. So it says current alternate member is Councillor Chappelt. So looking for someone to fill the mayor's role on that. I can. That's no problem. Councillor Alt?
So same deal, we need to have a alternate. If you move into there, I'd put my name on the alternate.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hutchinson?
So I'll make the motion then that acting Mayor Caprero move into the position, the appointed counselor position for the West Central stakeholders, and Counselor Ald as the alternate.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that's carried. Councillor Ald, your light is on. Thank you. And so we have 2 more, so looking for alternates for the Campus Alberta Central Post-Secondary Committee. Go ahead, Councillor Phillips.
Yeah, I can throw my name in as an alternate for that.
Okay, thank you. Do we, just looking for a motion now. Ooh. Does someone want to make a motion? Thank you.
I'll make the
Councillor
motion.
Musker.
To have Councillor Phillips, the alternate on the Campus Alberta Central Post-Secondary Committee.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that's carried. And then finally, we have the Municipal Planning Commission. Former Mayor Beach was an alternate for that. Councillor Musker?
I'd be happy to be the alternate for that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor
I
Phillips?
will make a motion to appoint Councillor Musker as the Municipal Planning Commission alternate.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. So moving forward, we are now correspondence for action. So 8.1, we have the Penhold Fall Festival. So Councillor Phillips, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I see these kind of as the same, as along the lines as parades. You know, should we be attending every event that we're asked to out of town? I'm sure if some council members want to, I would be fine if they wanted to go, but to me, I would just prefer to send a letter thanking them for the invitation, but declining it.
Thank you. Councillor Musker?
I'm just wondering where we're at with our ambassador program. If there's any information at all on that.
Not far with that program, just lack of applicants really that can also attend out-of-town events and drive vehicles and so on.
Thank you. I'm along the same lines. I'm not available those days anyways. So to me, I'm in favor of just sending a letter. Somebody maybe wants to make a motion for that? Go ahead, Councillor
Thanks.
Hutchinson.
I'll just make the motion to accept for information.
Thank you. If we're going to send a letter, do we need to add that to the?
Oh, and send a letter of thanks, but no thanks.
Okay, thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. So we have 8.2 firefighter advancement ceremony. So this is taking place on September 11th. Asking for the mayor and the Reeve if they're willing to say a few words. I am available that day, so I'm happy to attend and say a few words. If anybody else wants to come with me, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. I attended this last year, and it's just such a uplifting, proud moment, like, to be there and share with them. So, having said that, I would make a motion that Councillor Acting Mayor Caprero attend the upcoming firefighter advancement ceremony being held September 11th.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that, Councillor Phillips?
No, just, I plan on attending this as well, but I would just encourage anybody that's free, if they want to attend the ceremony.
Thank you for that. So Councillor Musker?
Just a question, if they need to know in advance who's coming? Do we know, or can we just show?
I don't
It says
think it-
dinner, so I'm guessing
Yeah,
they need to know in
that,
advance.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so do we have any further discussion on the motion? Okay, seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor of the motion and none opposed, and that's carried. 8.3, we have a CAPE membership satisfaction survey. Mr. Kraus?
So, Your Worship, they've asked that only one response per municipality with this survey, so we're bringing it to council for council to assign a council member to complete the survey on behalf of the municipality.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hutchinson?
I can do it if nobody else wants to.
I personally haven't been to any of the events, but I know that you have, so I
Yeah.
think that maybe it is best if you don't mind to
No,
do that.
I don't
and then
mind.
You've had that experience.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that.
Thank you for that. So, Councillor Alt?
I'll just make the motion, Acting Mayor, that Councillor Hutchinson completes a CAPE membership satisfaction survey.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Moving ahead, 8.4, we have the AB Munis 2024 Resolutions Book. Mr. Kraus.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. So this is brought forward to council each year for consideration on the resolutions going to Alberta Munis for council to vote on. So it's quite a large document. So I don't know if council wants more time to review, to have an in-depth discussion, or council's ready for an in-depth discussion or thoughts.
What did we do last year? Did we have an in-depth discussion on it last year?
Yes, we brought it to a GPC meeting for that discussion, so it's really an introduction right now for council, and you want to bring it to the September 10th GPC. It's fairly full, but I mean,
Yeah.
still, I'm sure we can get through it.
Okay. Councillor Phillips?
Yeah, I'm fine bringing this to the September GPC meeting. It's nice to see that our resolution is the first one on the slate, so that's good to see. I went through the resolutions, and there's some, some very basic ones, but there's some very interesting ones in here too. So, yeah, I would make a motion that we just bring the resolutions discussion to the September GPC meeting.
Okay, thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Councillor Alt, your light is on. Thank you. Okay, seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. So we are now looking at correspondence for information. So between 9.1 and 9.7, does anybody have anything that they would like to speak on? Councillor Hutchinson.
I will always be happy to speak about our community events committee. So we're only, 11 days out from our Alberta Day event. It's been put out through communications on our Facebook page, social media pages. We've got the ads coming up for 2 weeks in the newspaper. The Alberta government has put it on their website under Alberta Day, which was part of the grant process that we'd gotten as well. We have 2 more meetings left. It looks like things are coming together quite well. And if any council has places they'd like to put posters up, we could certainly get them to you guys so that you could go. And again, if any council wishes to attend, we have a meeting tonight at 4:30. We're meeting at the Helen Hunley Memorial Park gazebo tonight, so we can kind of walk through our site plans and what we're doing. And then we'll have another one next Tuesday at 4:30 as well. So, and anybody in any of the public that wishes to attend we're more than happy to welcome them.
Yes, and just adding to that too, we can always use more volunteers, so if anybody seeing this is open to volunteering, it would be muchly appreciated. Councillor Musker?
Could you repeat what the time this evening is, the meeting at the gazebo?
4:30.
4:30, or this afternoon?
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there anything else that anyone would like to speak about under this? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Councillor Phillips?
I'll make a motion to accept items 9.1 through 9.7 as information.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor of the motion and none opposed, and that is carried. So now we are under administration reports. 10.1. Mr. Kraus?
Yep, thank you, Acting Mayor. So presented to council the reports of the department. So if council has any questions, be glad to answer.
Thank you. Okay. Looks like we're looking for a motion then. I can make a motion that to accept 10.1 activity reports for administration as information. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor and unopposed, and that is carried. And under 11.1, we have the action list. Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, thank you, Acting Mayor. So just to go through the list, so the first one is the Youth Advisory Council. So council's asked that to be put on the service level agenda, and that has been done. It's on the agenda for discussion at service level. Discussion on the MPC that is scheduled for the September 3rd council meeting and is in progress. The Greenfield Development Council actually approved the bylaw today, so that is done. The Barracuda Swim Club rental rates, that was brought forward to council today, so that item is complete. The airport terminal building, the assessment on the foundation, the quote should be in all this week, so we can proceed for that. In the landmark, the National Historic Site for the landmark project, that is being concluded this week, I think. Or the results were supposed to be in last week, and you're compiling them this week?
The survey actually closes this Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday.
So
okay.
it'll be compiled prior to September 10th. Haven't yet had the fulsome conversation with the NHS, but hoping to do that prior to that date as well.
Thank you for that.
So the next one is the non-residential seat program, and that is scheduled for September 10th. The community grant policy is also scheduled for September 10th. The federal complement discussion, it is tentatively scheduled for September 10th. I'm waiting for more information from the RCMP to provide information to council. The town flag policy is scheduled for September 10th for council's discussion. The McNutt subclass town hall, that is scheduled for September 4th and is being advertised right now. And that is the end of the action list.
Thank you for that. Does anybody have any questions pertaining to that? Okay, otherwise I am looking for a motion. Councillor Musker.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we accept the action list as presented.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I will call that to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. Do we have any administrative inquiries this morning? Okay. Do we have any notices of motion? Okay. So I think before we move into closed session, maybe we will take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and go into that. Thank you. So we are back from our little break, but we are going into closed session, so looking for a motion. Counselor Ald.
I'll make the motion that we move into closed session.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. Thank you. So we are back now from closed session. So we have a few resolutions that are being made. So to start off, 14.2 disclosure, harmful to personal, community events committee application. So I'll turn that over to Councillor Alt.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I would just like to make a resolution that we appoint May Britt Seville to the Community Events Committee.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that to a vote. Those in favor? And none opposed, and that is carried. 14.3, looking to Councillor Musker.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept the development funding for information.
Thank you for your motion. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that one is carried. 14.4, Councillor Phillips.
I will make a motion that council approve personnel policy 011/2024 as presented.
Thank you for that. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. 14.5, Councillor Hutchinson.
Thank you. Be it resolved that council accept the proposals as information and direct admin to bring back a summary of the sustainability plan.
Thank you for your motion. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, that is carried. And finally, 14.6, Councillor Phillips.
Yes, thank you, Acting Mayor. I will make a motion that we accept the CAO dialogue as information.
Thank you for that. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call it to a vote. Those in favor and none opposed, and that is carried. And so with that all being taken care of, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting at